When I went to Bladeshow this year, I didn't expect to come home with so much, but here we are. This is everything that I got at Bladeshow Atlanta 2024, and we're going to talk about each one and why it is here. Let's get started. Now, when I showed up for Bladeshow, I was equipped with basically nothing. I decided I wouldn't check anything in, and I wouldn't ship anything directly to Bladeshow either. I did fly, so I'm limited in what I could carry. So I took a beeline for someone I knew I would be buying a knife from this year, and that is Vero Engineering. So I wanted something from this company. I ended up deciding that I would get one of their early fixed blades. Now, I'm normally not much of a Damascus person, but I know just how particular Joseph is about the ones he chooses, and this is just one of the most spectacular knives I've ever seen. I knew that this would be a knife I would carry more as a showpiece than it would be something I would carry all the time and use practically. That's not to say that I won't, just that this is definitely one of those high-end pieces that represents Vero Engineering. I have had 3 Vero knives in the past, all of which I ended up selling because at the time I wasn't really making that much money. They felt very out of place in the rest of my collection. So it was really nice to get something back that I'll be owning from them and I will never sell. And this is right up my alley, especially right now where I find myself carrying EDC fixed blades regularly. I got it, of course, with the titanium handles, but it also has available micarta handles as well that are a little bit more functional. This is it's just gorgeous. Now, it comes with a Kydex sheath and it has a different attachment setup than this one here. You have to buy this clip separately, but it is an excellent in-pocket design. It is a milled titanium clip. Pretty expensive by itself, but man, does it make a difference on this Kydex sheath. Love it. Very, very comfortable, very easy to use. And they also have this really simple leather slip as well, which I didn't even realize was in the package, but was definitely a pleasant surprise. So beautiful, beautiful design on this leather slip as well. Really well executed. It's got the included clip built into it. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful knife. It is definitely one of my favorites of the pickup. And once I had it, I knew, okay, all right, got a knife. I'm not going to get embarrassed if someone pocket checks me now. And that was the first knife I picked up, and I have 0 regrets doing so. Now, the second knife that I picked up is the Ursa Cub from White River Knives. Now, I saw this and held it at SHOT Show in January, and I fell in love. It's just kind of a perfect hybrid. Gonna be able to do all the EDC tasks, but has a nice girthy handle for use in the outdoors. Can be held in reverse grip, and for me, it just fits. It's almost ideal for my large-sized hands. Now, I think if you have extra large hands, you might need a bigger knife, but for me, this was just about perfect. So about 3.5-inch blade, Magna Cut blade steel, and the price is just insane on these things. I think they run normally, normal price for this is under $200. And that includes the ferroceram rod and the attachments, everything you see here. Now, I'm probably gonna end up setting this with an ulti-clip and an in-pocket carry. I'll probably also take off the attachment for the ferroceram rod because I'm gonna end up doing it as a daily carry and just using it on a more regular basis. Especially now that we're kind of in the summer, I'll be doing a little bit more fishing, and this is probably a knife that will be accompanying me with that, and along with a multi-tool. But I really, really, really like this knife. A couple other cool features that I learned about it. You'll notice that you can kind of see it with the light. This actually has a tapered area on the back. So right here, it's crowned, but then right there, it's very, very sharp for use with striking that ferro rod. So it's like tapered right in a certain spot for you to do so. I think that's pretty interesting. Now, me personally, I would like to see it 90 degree all the way out to the edge. Right now, it's just this section in the middle, which I think a lot of people will like. Me, I want pretty much 90 degree the whole way because I'm not going to choke up on this knife. I'm choked up about as far as I need to already. I'm not going to be holding it any more than doing like this or like this and maybe like this. I'm not really going to be carrying too much about the fact that it's a 90-degree spine. If I'm up here choking this knife to try to carve with it, I'm not putting a lot of pressure, so having a 90-degree spine isn't going to matter too much. And here, where I'm putting the most pressure, it's not going to matter either. So I appreciate what they were going for. It's still functional right off the bat. You can kind of see how much is a 90-degree spine right there, but I'm probably going to end up modifying it slightly and just putting a 90-degree spine on the whole knife. That's my personal preference. Just a really, really well-executed knife. Even a really well-executed Kydex sheath as well. Just fantastic. Even micarta on the ferrocerium rod. So really, really good job, and definitely something that was an instant pickup for me this year. Now, this is something I'm very excited to share with you. I've been talking to Daily Customs for a few months, and I told them, why don't you wait till I get to Bladeshow, and then we can talk there and take a look at everything they had. Well, they had so many options. So thankfully, over 2 days, we were able to figure out which knife to showcase on the channel. And this, man, is this a beautiful knife. First of all, the leather slip that you can get for it is absolutely gorgeous, in-pocket sheath. And I didn't know this, but this company, Daily Customs, is one of those companies that got the fixed blade craze kicked off not only here in America, but especially in Germany, where this is completely legal to carry and is a lot easier to do so than some of the folding knives that we would normally be able to carry. So this is just absolutely spectacular. Now, I believe this is called the AK1, and what really caught my eye with this particular knife, a little bit of leather right there, is that this was a micarta inlay inside a micarta, and I never seen that before. For some reason, it never even occurred to me to do something like this, but you have this, what's like a vintage micarta in a standard burlap micarta handle, and it just feels incredible in hand. This is a nice, small, little fixed blade under 3 inches of blade length, but yet I have a full 4-finger grip, and in some ways is the most comfortable handle on the table. It doesn't feel like it should be. Like, you would think this would be really, really comfortable, but for some reason, they just done a really good job with the shape. It doesn't feel like it should be, but man, is it comfortable in hand. Fantastic, and it works great in pocket. So with this sheath, you just stick it in like so, and that whole thing just goes right in your pocket. It's honestly about as convenient as a folding knife, and I think that's what this has done, is it's made it convenient for people. This entire system is really, really light. The blade is really light, but very, very useful. And there's just some advantages with a fixed blade that you don't really get with a folding knife. There's things I will do with fixed blades that I prefer not to do with most folding knives. And this is just a really cool option, especially if you're in Europe. This is a place that you can buy directly from them. And I think they also have shipping here in the US from a bunch of different distributors. I'll put whatever links I have to these down below, but I'm absolutely in love with this combination. Hopefully that is available and it's not too difficult. This was like the last one they had. But you can order it and you can get this. They also have this skeletonized knife, which honestly, it was so light that I almost took it on the plane without realizing it. It was kind of buried in a zipper pocket. I didn't even notice it was there, and I was like, oh crap, and thankfully I was able to give it to someone to ship to me before I got on the plane. It was very close though. I almost forgot, because like this thing weighs practically nothing. It is just such a light, compact neck knife slash in-pocket knife. I'll probably end up putting some kind of ulti clip or something like that on it. It's probably also really good as like a crossbody, like right on top of your belt, because it's so flat. I'm still thinking about different ways to use it, but this is definitely the year where I was like fixed blade crazy. I've been like that a lot recently and really enjoyed it, but this was just kind of capping that all off. I really think these are some of my favorite pickups of this show, and I'm going to be getting a lot of use out of all of them. Now, I've got to talk about a really special knife that I think, well, it's not my normal knife review. This knife has a really cool story. I was in a conversation with one of my neighbors, and it turns out they were looking for a gift for their dad. And I mentioned that I was going to Bladeshow Atlanta. And so we decided to look for something special for this person. And I had the opportunity to do so with my dad, who was with me during Bladeshow Atlanta. And we ended up finding this. Now, this is something truly spectacular. So check this out. Now, not only is the sheath beautiful, but look at this handle. And then, of course, take a look at that blade. My God. Yeah. Copper infused Damascus. Pretty unusual. There weren't too many knives out there that I saw that were of this caliber, at least ones that were under $1,000. And just the piece just really stuck out to me. It was just truly something off the charts. There was a couple others that he had. One was a polished handle that was almost identical, but this one really just caught my eye, and he agreed that this was the perfect gift. And I just wanted to show you guys. Unbelievable. Yes, and it even comes with a practical sheath. So it is a standard, more hunting, like a hunting pattern knife, but it does have a great in-pocket sheath. I'm actually not sure who the maker's mark is for this. If you guys know, let me know, because I actually think they do excellent work. This is a fantastic sheath design. So just a beautiful piece that I'm happy to be able to pass along, and I think they're gonna like it. You let me know. Would your dad or anyone like this as a gift? I'd say it's something quite special, and I think it will end up being really enjoyed, especially because not everyone knows that you can get copper Damascus. It's not that common. And so I think this will end up being a really, really special piece. Now, of course, you can't go to Bladeshow without talking to the man, the myth, the legend that is Joe Flowers over at Condor booth. And if you don't know him, he's one of the most friendly and most energetic men you will ever meet, ever. I promise you that. And he handed me this, which is one of the most interesting knives because it has this really excellent girthy handle, but it feels kind of in the shape of a chef's knife, but you wouldn't use this really for just food prep because it's just a little bit too stout, even thick behind the edge. This is called the Skirmish, which I'm guessing is sort of a hybrid combat knife or something along those lines. I'll put the link to the listing down below, but he's like, hey, you should check this out. I'm like, okay, sure, beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Love the handle. Very, very, very comfortable. I'm not sure where or how this is supposed to be used. I'll do more research about it over the next couple of weeks and find a way to fit this into other kits, or we'll maybe give it away on the channel. But I also thought that the sheath was particularly interesting, and I'm going to learn a lot more about this in the future. But thanks again, Joe. Always a great time seeing you. And I'm looking forward to doing a lot more in the future. I'll probably end up being at Georgia Bushcraft for their fall gathering, and I think we'll be taking this and seeing what we can do with it. Weirdly enough, I did not plan on buying any folding knives at Bladeshow, and then I still ended up buying this one. And it just, I don't know, it just really surprised me that this particular company was going to offer something so elegant. This is the Cold Steel FM1, and what really surprised me was just how elegant it actually was. It's not really Cold Steel's normal gig. S35 VN, titanium handles with an Atlas lock on washers, and man, is this smooth. Very, very smooth for a knife on washers. And it felt really, really nice in hand. It even has an ambidextrous pocket clip, which was another nice little surprise. For an ambidextrous knife, it did make sense, but my goodness, it was certainly a surprise to actually really like this knife. I held it, I'm like, I'll take one. Now this was around at $200 price, so I'm hoping that it ends up staying around that point when people are able to actually buy it. I don't even know if this is available yet. Maybe this was still waiting to come out, but I was pretty happy with it. It's made in Taiwan. It has their Atlas lock system. I will say, I don't know if I'll be doing a review later, so I'll point this out. My only qualm with it is that the jimping for the edge here, which is the only one that actually matters, it's too rounded and it's not sharp enough to really catch to really make this an easy prospect to do one-handed like this. It certainly is easy to disengage with your thumb like I showed here, and because of that choil, there's no risk to damage whatsoever. So you can obviously do that, and there's no issues, but I feel like the fidget factor isn't as nice as it could be simply because the jimping isn't aggressive enough to catch your finger. It feels like you slide off very easy. That is my only real qualm with this knife. Otherwise, it feels like a really nice upscale version of one of my favorite cold steel knives, the Airlight. And this one, it just surprised me. I was really quite impressed. And a lot of people I talked to that I showed it to were also really surprised that cold steel came out with something that was like this. But I think it was kind of happy surprise. Like they were like, wow, that's actually pretty elegant and nice. And I agree. I am really surprised. Now, I don't think you need that whatsoever. Can we please get rid of the extra branding? But yeah, otherwise, I think that this is actually a really nice piece. And they did a great job. Even the texturing is done just right. Color me impressed that Cold Steel could release something this nice. So I spent some time at the Kansept booth, and I ended up picking up two knives from them. One is this. This is called the Convict, and what really surprised me was just how comfortable the handle actually was. It really feels like an excellent shape for draw cutting. It really wants to put that tip down and kind of get it into whatever material it is. And for some inexplicable reason, I'm into Damascus for this brief moment. And they had a version of it that was in Damascus, and they were willing to let me have it. So I'm pretty thankful. This is a beautiful knife, and it's probably going to end up being a giveaway item at some point on this channel. And I just thought, you know what? It's just so much cooler to be able to give something unique like this. Now, this is a VG10 style Damascus, very like a more like mid-grade to high-end Damascus steel, but still going to be a great performer. It'll work very, very well. Just a great knife in general. Now, they also gave me this. Now, this is not my style of knife per se, but it is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous knife. So titanium bolster, milled titanium pocket clip, fat carbon handles, S35 VN. This is called the cassowary. I think that's a bird. I'm not 100% sure. And it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous knife. Great action when you can get it to fall. There you go. Boom. The only thing I'm going to say about this is I never understood why there's no jimping on flipper tabs. Every flipper tab should have jimping. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Otherwise, love the knife. It's absolutely spectacular. And look at the little details on the pivot. That actually is the thing that really caught my eye. I just feel like it doesn't match the rest of it. I want to see more of this. Maybe even an entire handle like dimpled like that. It's really hard to focus with the camera, but I'm telling you, it's really cool. It kind of gives it kind of an optical illusion of depth. That is definitely something that they did really well on this knife. It's a little bit small for my hands, but a lot of people I talk to love the shape and design and the color. So yeah, this is another thing that's really cool, and will also probably be a giveaway item on the channel at some point. Kansept's doing a great job. I hope they continue. And in fact, the knife that really excited me is from a good friend, Jonathan Shaw. And that is not yet coming out, but as soon as that does, I will be reviewing it as well. Great maker, great designer, and yeah, they have an exclusive that will be really exciting. And I think that you guys will like it as well. Now, this is something a little bit different. This is another one of those pickups where I knew they were going to be giving me one at Bladeshow, so I decided to hold off and talk about it after the fact. This is from Remette and is a gravity knife that is an OFT, an out the front knife, and this is really cool. Beautiful M390 blade. Check out that fat carbon fiber inlay with copper. That's probably my favorite of all the different variations out there. And the knife just slides right in. In fact, this is quite a bit smoother than the past generation. Now, it's hard to do it on camera, but you can flick the knife out. It is not exactly a practical knife, more of a novelty of sorts, but of all the gravity knives that I've seen, this one makes the most sense to me because you don't have to take your hands off of the handle in order to actuate. A lot of those you have to hold like half the handle, and I always feel like you're gonna drop that, and that just seems a little dangerous. But this one by Remette, no, this is nice. I mean, look at the pattern on this. That's actually milled into the titanium. They've done a great job with this. That's just the coolest thing ever, right? And you can change out these inlays if you like. Just super smooth. And this was really neat. They actually come with a slip that lets the pocket clip actually work. So you can stick this entire thing in your pocket. So for whatever reason, you didn't want to get this scratched up, you can stick this in your pocket and then, you know, you don't get things damaged. Now, I'm not that kind of person. I feel like that's part of the allure of the knife. It's what makes the knife yours by having scratches and stuff. I think that's what makes it better, not worse. But the fact that they have these is really, really cool for those who don't want to do that. And weirdly enough, this works with a lot of other knives. You can do this with basically anything and protect whatever knife you want. If you're spending a lot of money on custom knives, maybe ones that have scroll work and they had people doing that type of work, maybe you want to protect it in your pocket. Or maybe when you have your hand going in, you don't want to rub against something hard. This is a really clever solution. I'm wondering why we don't see more of these available. Let me know what you think down below. And let me know also, is the ban on gravity knives warranted? I mean, it's really not any more practical than anything we already have. I can't really do it. I have to, there's a mastery to getting this to deploy perfectly every time you flick it, and it's hard to do on camera, but I will tell you, it is very comfortable in hand. And when you do choke up and squeeze, you're basically pressing down on these little clamps that hold the blade in place, and it just locks. Pretty cool. There's nothing to break here, no springs, nothing like that, just smooth operator, just in, out, easy peasy. Very, very cool piece. Now this comes in plain titanium and also this black wash, but I gotta say I'm a big fan of the black wash, and I really like this blade shape a little bit more than the past generation. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, some items literally defy any sort of category, and that is these, basically. Now, these are from Ocaso Knives, and if you don't know Ocaso, these are new guys on the block, and they are really shaking things up. They've taken a different approach to knives in general. They're kind of targeting, you know, corporate gifting, making it feel more like opening up a Rolex out of a box. They really have changing things up, and I like what they're doing. And they also have some pretty interesting novelties, and these are great examples of them. So I have one in Wharncliffe and then one in Drop Point. Let me show you what's going on here. So first of all, that's a pretty hefty blade, but what makes this different is this. You can actually rotate them, and actually comes into two knives. They stick together with magnets and this little collar. You can use them for opening packages, whatever you need, and then set them back in place and set them right there on your little stand on your desk. This is basically just a desk knife, but it's a cool little design. And as he said, it's actually a scissor. I'm like, yeah, whatever, scissor my butt. But no, it actually does. Actually does work as a scissor, weirdly enough. So pretty cool. It is not something I would use as a scissor, but might be really good clickbait. I'm definitely gonna do that. But like, this is a cool gift. I think it's a cool gift item as a letter opener, package opener, you name it. I think that it's just a really cool idea, and the ability to kind of split the knife in half is just a really, really neat novelty. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. These have been really hot sellers for Ocaso Knives and have been really, really popular as gift items. They are taking, like I said, a very different approach with just about everything they're doing, and I think it's paying dividends. They're targeting a different group of people. They have some beautiful, beautiful pieces that they're releasing. They just are some of the most elegant knives that I've seen that are production models. All of them seem to be made in Taiwan. And yeah, they're doing really, really cool work. Just something you want to be made aware of. If you're looking for a fun gift that's very different, maybe this is it. And there we are, all the goodies from Bladeshow Atlanta. But I mean, this was just the icing on the cake. Just a truly spectacular knife that will end up going to someone who I think will really appreciate it. I really thank you guys for hanging out with me for this video, and I'm looking forward to talking again soon. Have a good one, guys.